Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hi, it's Jason Limfeld, and it is Friday afternoon. It's December the 10th, and I'm happy to be here with you at the Hostos Student Leadership Academy Friday Ambassador Workshop Series. This is our last workshop for fall 2021, and I'm excited to have with us for this wonderful workshop our good friend Dan Gannon, who's going to do something called Do It for the Dopamine, and he'll explain all of that to you. It is a workshop that will help you to start to put together your plans for the future. So it's a goal setting workshop. And so let's give it up a nice virtual, however you do it, round of applause for Dan Gannon.
Thank you. Thank you. It's always such a pleasure to work with you, Jason. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. Um, I love working with Hostos. The students, the environment, the encouragement, the support is fantastic. And I want to do my best today to replicate this energy and give you something to close out this leadership series that could and should prepare you to achieve success in everything that you do moving forward, whether that's in school, in your relationships, in life. And so I really want to gear up, get ready to go. Quick reminder, video is not required, but highly encouraged if you are in a space that is comfortable. Obviously, we are being recorded, so please turn on your video if you can. It is not required. If you cannot turn on your video, try to be engaged in the chat box and through your video by doing, raising your hand or doing high fives or anything on there, or the clapping emoji that shows up. So I know that you're getting it. And I can understand if there's any areas that I need to go over in greater detail. Also, Jason should have emailed out to you. I think he said he did, but the goal success action guide, we're going to be going through that today. I'm going to share my screen and show it to you, but if you can and you're in the space, try to have that pulled up on the side or try to take notes as best you can, because we're going to actually be workshopping through that together. And so I can give you some real world examples as you're going through this. So the goal success action guide is in the chat box. You can pull it up from there. And really, that is the meat for what we're going to be doing and what's going to set you up. It's a step-by-step plan. And this plan I've actually used with Fortune 500 CEOs and vice presidents and presidents of organizations. They have used this exact same model to replicate success in their institution. So this is a real actionable tool for you in any area that you're going to use. Before I get started, I've spoken at Hostos a couple of times before, and I know I did some goal setting stuff last year. If by a show of hands or raising up on the Zoom, if you could just tell me if you've been in one of my workshops before, that would be great. If you have, awesome. If you have, jump in with your knowledge and expertise as you feel comfortable. Really what I want this to be is a collaborative effort for goal setting. We all have, similar challenges and similar struggles. So as we work through this, I want you all to feel comfortable to jump in, give examples, give insight, share challenges, ways that you overcome challenges. All of that's going to be really, really helpful. So the better your engagement, the better this workshop will be for everyone. With that being said, I want to talk a little bit about me and my journey, just to kind of give you a foundation for where I came from and how I discovered this goal success process. I was born and raised in Oregon, in a very, very tiny town, rural town, where I was one of 47 in my graduating class. So a very, 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 very small school, very small community. I grew up to a father who struggled with drug abuse and a mother who was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis the year that I was born. And because of those challenges, and both my parents are very loving people, and I'm very fortunate that I have a good relationship with both of them. But unfortunately, they were not very capable parents because of their own individual challenges. And as a result, I was not a very good student. And I had to go to the military to basically get myself out of that situation. So I joined the United States Marine Corps. And in the Marine Corps, I learned a few tenets, some foundational principles that really helped me level up my life in a way. I learned some discipline. I learned confidence. I learned that I could overcome challenges that were present in my life. When I finished my time in the military, I went to community college. I was the first in my family to graduate high school, and then I became the first in my family to get an associate's degree. And then I went to Long Island University, and I was the first in my family to get a bachelor's degree. And so after my military service, I went to college. And since college, I have spoken across the country. I've workshopped with, like I said, Fortune 500 CEOs and vice presidents and presidents. I've helped individuals. I've done some individual coaching with actors and athletes. I have first in my family to buy my own house before 30. I was able to write a couple of books. I was able to, I'm supporting the production of movies. And so all of the tenets that got me to this place, I'm gonna try and teach you in the most boiled down version possible. So how did I discover this? In my life, I've had a great number of failures and a great number of successes. And throughout both my successes and my failures, I found that there is one pretty common thread. And that is the discipline to follow through on whatever it is that I'm setting out to achieve. And I think that it's really easy for us to get caught up in the complexity of life and to lose sight of our goals as we're working towards them, specifically if we have many goals we're trying to achieve. Healthy relationships, school, work, maybe long-term goals that you're trying to achieve. It's very, very easy to lose sight of constant progression forward towards those goals. And to get bogged down in the complexity or the traumas that we experience in life or the challenges that we experience in life. It's very easy to get derailed. And when I saw areas where I failed, it was typically because I allowed myself to get derailed. And when I saw areas where I succeeded, it was because I constantly focused on ways to make a little bit of improvement towards that goal every day, every week, or every month. That kept me on track. It allowed me to see my vision becoming my reality. And it allowed me to make sure that I made adjustments in real time to see those goals through. It wasn't until about last year that I discovered what was actually happening wasn't necessarily all my conscious doing. What I discovered was that a lot of this was my subconscious, and specifically how my brain was working behind the scenes to set me up for success. Before I get started, I want to see if anybody would like to share or type in the chat box a goal that they've set for themselves and then they did not reach. Maybe it's a fitness goal or a life goal or a school goal. Maybe you wanted better grades. What's something that you wanted to achieve but you fell short of? You can put it in the chat. You can raise your hand. Fitness is one of them. Fitness is a big one. You're not alone in fitness. Can you unmute yourselves? If not, let me know.
Hello, hi, everybody.
Hi.
I know it will be hard. Today is my first time. My name is Fatmata Diallo. I'm a new student of Hostos. This will be my first semester.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm not going too far. I will just answer the question that you last answer. I'm not going to make more detail. But one of the goals that I really want since I was a little kid, it was to have a healthy family and then never been divorced. So I didn't get success on it. So I know it's not going to come back, but it's one of the things that I was really looking after having my career done. But I think it's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Anybody else? I see Suprina put, I didn't graduate from beauty school and I was only a month away from graduating, receiving better pay, better job, a good grade, passed my math class. I'm right there with you. I'm terrible at math. Have an emergency fund of 15,000. That's a really good goal. Nahomi, if I'm saying that right, don't let me forget. I want to circle back to that later. Yep, sometimes we can't control the uncontrollable. I think these are all really good examples. And the reason why I ask people to share this is because when we see people achieving, specifically on things like social media, you don't see all the failures that are happening behind the scenes because people only talk about their success. And the reality is that we're all failing all the time. Nobody is free from failure, not a single person. And I wanted to ground us in that reality so we understand that, yes, you can fail, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to achieve success. Yes, you can fail, but that doesn't mean that that defines who you are in that moment, that month, that week, or that year. Specifically, when we talk about things like 2020 and 2021 and how difficult and challenging these years have been from a mental health perspective, from a family health perspective, from career outlook or school outlooks, these things are very challenging. Sometimes we can't control them, sometimes we can. But ultimately, failure is a certainty in life. It is not an uncertainty, it is a certainty. And we need to accept that certainty, because if we allow the failure to deter us from our goals, we will never reach it. If you missed your fitness goal, there's no reason why you can't pick it up again tomorrow. There's no reason why you can't look at it and be like, why did I fail? And then rechange it, right? So let me tell you a little bit about what happened to me when I realized what was happening in my subconscious that was helping me and hurting me with my goals. And it all has to deal with neuroscience. Raise your hand if you're familiar with neuroscience, or hit in the chat if you're familiar with neuroscience, or maybe you've heard the term dopamine before, or oxytocin. If any of those terms are familiar to you, go ahead and just let me know. Okay, so there's some people that are familiar with it. This is good. So what happens in our brains is we have, as evolved humans, we have our cortex, which is the front part of our brain. That's where we have critical thinking. That's where that comes from. And then we have our mammal brain, which is kind of in the back here. And in the mammal brain, that controls a certain set of chemicals. And those chemicals and that mammal brain has been there since pre-evolution, right? That was when we were cavemen and women, we had the mammal brain, and our cortex wasn't as fully developed. And what this means is that the mammal brain functions from a survival place. So the chemicals that are operating within our mammal brain are dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, morphine. They all have a certain subset that deal with survivability. And so just want to make this, so no, it is not the mammal brain. That's just like we as mammals. That's what that is. And it's in the back part of our brain. It's a really small place, the medulla oblongata. If you look at a picture of a brain, you can see it right there in the back. And it's a very small part of our brain. It doesn't have to deal with the frontal cortex. So, but that mammal brain deals with survivability specifically. So, for example, we know that if you're hungry right now, you can tell yourself, oh, I don't need to go out and get snacks because I can just eat later. That's your cortex competing with your mammal brain that's telling you that based on your certain situation, that you can get food later on. So you don't need to rush and get food. More specifically, if we were talking about a lion who does not have a developed cortex, a lion may go out and kill a gazelle, fill itself full, and then see another gazelle going by. A lion is not going to know that they just ate, and they're not going to know to expect a meal or to know when the next gazelle is going to walk by. So what are they going to do? They're going to go and they're going to kill that gazelle, and they're going to eat that gazelle, even though they just ate a full meal. That's because their survival chemicals are telling them they need to eat now because they don't know when to expect their next meal. So that's what's happening in our brains. We have the same subset of functions that happen in our brains. I want to talk today mostly about dopamine. Dopamine is considered the reward chemical. When we do something that makes us feel great, we get a hit of dopamine. And the way that actually works is, and let's just say I'll use an example of like, hey, you had a long day. I'm a chronic stress eater. I'll be the first to admit when I have a hard day, I love to drink coffee. That's one thing. I drink coffee all day long. And then the second thing is that I love, like, at a long day, I'll buy a bag of peanut M&Ms and I'll crush a bag of peanut M&Ms when I'm having a long day. That's just my comfort foods. What that does when I do those things is it gives me a shot of dopamine. It's a pleasure recipient for me. It's my reward for a long day. I've trained my brain to think of that reward. So when we do anything in our life that makes us feel pleasurable, again, good foods, we hit the winning shot, we get an A on our test, all of those things, you're getting a hit of dopamine. And the way that dopamine works is you get that hit, your brain feels it, feels great, we feel good, it metabolizes, your brain instantly goes, I want to feel that feeling again. And then it starts to search for that feeling again so it can get another hit of dopamine. And ironically enough, this is actually also how addiction works. There's a lot of studies about people who are addicted to highly addictive drugs that realize that that's actually the same process. Dopamine is being hit. And that's also another reason why, and this is kind of the darker side of dopamine, but if you've ever known somebody who is an addict, like a real chronic addict, they might say something like, I'm still chasing that first high. And it's because once we experience something, we never experience that same level of high that it gave us, but our brains still search for it. So there's an intensity of search with dopamine as well. So just wanted to put that out there, as understanding the power of dopamine is also the same power that drives addiction. That's how strong dopamine can be for you. So how does this work? In our brains, we have synapses, and these are electrical synapses that send signals to all the receptors in our body. Dopamine actually creates superhighways that impact and establish habits. For example, social media. I'm not sure if any of you have seen the social media Netflix documentary about how social media is actually designed and marketed for people, but it's actually designed to register dopamine hits, which is why, I'll give you an example. When you're sending a text message, if you have an iPhone, those three dots down there, those three dots there are waiting because when you get that text that comes in, you get a hit of dopamine. Or when you check your social media, you check your Instagram, your TikTok, and you see somebody like or comment those buttons, that's actually triggering dopamine centers in your body. So it's teaching you to use it as a reward. And what's happening is it's paving superhighways. How many of you, and I'm guilty of this, how many of you pick up your phone, unlock it, and your fingers go right to Instagram or Facebook or TikTok? That's the first thing you open. And you could do it subconsciously, right? You could unlock your phone, look at it, and you're swiping left or right or clicking directly on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. You've literally paved, when you do that, you've literally paved a super highway in your brain. Yes, YouTube is also another one. And the weather app, I do that too. But your brain has literally paved a super highway, a habit highway that now you don't even think about it. You open your phone automatically. You might not even be interested in TikTok, but that's where you're going. Maybe you're opening your phone to send an email and your thumb or your finger goes to TikTok first or Instagram first. Now you have this habit that has been formed in your brain. And this is a really powerful thing to understand, because that habit exists, or that superhighway exists for your good habits and your bad habits. This is a really powerful thing for you to understand. And this is something that took me 30 years to understand. When I reviewed and I looked back at my life and I saw where I saw success and I saw where I saw failure, to me, it all boiled down to habits and discipline. And those two things are synonymous. They work together. When you have a competing superhighway in your brain that's pulling you away from your goal, it's 10 times harder to achieve. And so our goal today is going to be to talk about how to pave new superhighways in our brain. I'm going to run through with you using the goal success action guide, step-by-step process of what this looks like. And then with whatever time is left, I want to work and workshop through any goals that you are all comfortable sharing with me and sharing with the group so that the group can learn by our shared example. Any questions before we really get started in the meat of what this looks like? All right, great. So what I want to do now, I gave you guys a high-level overview. I want to share my screen, and I want to share with you the Goal Success Action Guide, which is going to dive a little tiny bit deeper into what this all is. So here's the Goal Success Action Guide. Each one of you have a copy of this. I only give this out to my coaching clients. So, please retain this copy. This is yours to keep, but do not distribute it. I didn't tag it or anything, but that goes without saying, make sure, and if you do distribute it or share it to somebody, just make sure to give me a little bit of credit for it. But this is the Goal Success Action Guide. I'm your instructor. I already introduced myself. Here's what we're going to go through in this action guide. I already talked to you a little bit about what dopamine is. There are some other notes on there that I want to talk about. I'm going to go a little tiny bit more into brain chemistry. I want to show you the goal success equation. This is my secret sauce, if you will. Understanding dopamine and then using the goal success equation are the two foundational principles to laying a framework for success for yourself. I'm going to show you how to put it into action. And then I want to review some of the tenets that make sure that really you're learning how to make real-time adjustments for your goals. And I believe this is the thing that, and I've, not only do I believe, but I've witnessed some of the most successful people that I've ever worked with not do step number 4. And it's the reason why so many of them, call me to work with them. And it's the sole reason why so many of them end up not achieving success, even though they have really great goals. A couple of quotes in here. This is one of my favorite quotes of all time. Most people will panic to find a charger before their phone dies, but they won't panic to find a plan before their dream dies. I actually have this on my phone. I see this every single day. It's just a gentle reminder of where our mindset is at when we think about the things we want to achieve in life. So I talked a little bit about already dopamine and how it works. In this action guide, I give you a high-level overview. So I just wanted you to see that. And again, if anybody can't see it, I can't see your chat questions right now. So just wanted you to know that I can't see your chat. So you're going to have to go through. Let's see if I can pull up a chat box just so I can see what you guys are saying real quick. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, now I can see the chat box. I'm not sure if you guys can see it too, but I can. That's what's important. All right, perfect. So I've already gone through an overview of this. I really wanted to make sure and reiterate that we're tying together dopamine and habits. This is the important tenet that I want you to understand. Dopamine and habits work together. They are a part of each other. So make sure that you can tie in your brain, every habit you have deals with dopamine. So again, I mentioned dopamine is a reward chemical. So every time we do something that we like, that is successful, or that we're achieving, we're getting hits of dopamine. And this is the first step in wanting to form new habits. My favorite example to give with this is fitness. So many of us have a fitness goal that we bring up, especially at this time of year, as the new year is approaching. New year, new me. I mean, that is like the number one thing that people say they want to improve on. They want to eat healthier, they want to work out more, they want to lose weight, they want to gain weight. There's some kind of body fitness relationship that we have. And everybody says at this time of the year, this is one of the things that they're focusing on. But what they don't think about is what current habits they have that are not allowing them to be where they want to be anyways. What's that foundational principle? So understanding this is the first step in setting new goals and changing habits. And it all starts with this. First thing you need to do is actually set up a real goal. A lot of people think they know what a goal is. Oh, I'm going to gain 10 pounds. I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week, right? Great. That's a good start. But you have to consider the measurable over time. If you just say you want to go to the gym 3 times a week, and then you don't go to the gym 3 times a week, it's easier for you to be like, oh, I'm failing my goal. So you got to think of your goals as more spread out and how you actually want to measure that. And I believe in what's called little wins. Little wins are the #1 way for you to pave new superhighways in your brain. And what this does is it hacks the dopamine process. I did this, I'm training to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in 2022. It's the highest peak in Africa. And I was a Marine, I have some hiking in my body, but I knew that I needed to put a lot of mileage on my body in terms of walking and hiking to prepare myself for such a long and grueling climb and a grueling hike. So what I did was I set a goal for myself. I'm going to hike 100 miles or walk 100 miles a month. And I said, I'm going to do 25 miles a week, which means I have to do a certain number of miles every day. And then I can track and monitor my success throughout each week and make adjustments if I'm falling behind or I'm getting ahead, or if I need to do something day to day to make sure I'm reaching that goal. What I did was I took my goal of 100 miles a month and I put a measurable to it. I broke it down from a month to a weeks to the days and what I needed to achieve in each. And then I set the goal of doing it over the timeline of 1 month, and then over the timeline of 3 months, and over the timeline of a year, and then training to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in 2022. The reason why this is so important and following this equation is so important is because it puts into perspective what your goal is and how you're actually going to achieve it. A lot of people don't think that they can put a number to every goal that they're doing, and I guarantee you I can. And I want some of you to challenge me with this at the end of the workshop today. If you think that there's a goal that can't be boiled down into a number, I challenge you to show me what that looks like, because I've been able to find numbers for everything. Make sure to keep this in mind as we go into the next few steps. So, and I covered this a little bit, but this is just an example of what these ingredients are. So you need a clearly and specific defined goal. So for example, I work with a lot of hospitals, so that's why it says ED in here, that's emergency department. So increase efficacy in the emergency department by 10%. That's putting an identifying number to what your goal is. If you just say increasing the efficacy in the emergency department, what does that actually mean? There's so many ways to measure that. You have no idea what your goal is. So in anything like, oh, I want to have a fit, healthy body. Okay, what do you mean by a fit, healthy body? There's so many ways to determine what a fit, healthy body is. Oh, I want to be a better student. Okay, what kind of better student do you want to be? You want to have better grades? You want to do your homework on time? You want to not procrastinate as much? So we got to have very clear and specific goals, not holistic goals that are out there with no clear measurable in mind. You also have to have a defined unit of measurement. This is typically a number, percentage, or time that you're going to use. Then you also have to put your measurable over time. How much time are you giving yourself to complete this goal, and then work backwards? This is really, really important step. This is what a lot of people don't do. I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months. Okay, what does that look like every month? What does that look like every week of those months? And what does that look like every day of those months? So an example of this would be, I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months. That means I need to lose 3.3 pounds every month. And that means I need to lose X amount of pounds every week. Or you could also change it. I need to lose 3.3 pounds every month. So what I'm going to do is work out 3 times a week, and I'm going to eat healthy 2 times a week. So what do you need to do? Every day, you need to make sure to set time to go work out or to make sure you're eating healthy. So you can continually break this down. It's reverse engineering your goal from its endpoint to its start point and everything in between. And then this is what I mentioned before about the step that some of the most successful people I've ever worked with in my life, people who are millionaires, people who have tons of houses, people who are successful actors, or have run their own businesses, they're in real estate. The one thing that they don't do, more common than anything else, is actually review in real time the progress that they're making towards their goal. I cannot understate this enough. This is where the real magic in goal setting happens, because this is where you start to see your dopamine hits. This is where you can start to leverage your dopamine hits, and this is where you start to form new habits. You cannot skip the review phase. So what I want some of you guys to do now, I know some of you are walking and working and you might not be able to, but I want to give you about 3 minutes right now, 3 minutes to write down a goal you have for 2022. And I would say not just 2022 is the year, but let's just say the first 3 months of 2022. What is a goal you have for the first 3 months of 2022, from January to March, the end of March? Write down a goal right now. 3 minutes. I'll give you 3 minutes to just write down something that you really want to do between January and the end of March of next year. And thank you, Jason, for continuing to post the Goal Success Action Guide so that everybody has it. Feel free to put your goal in the chat box. I'd also encourage you, as you're writing down these goals, to think about what I just talked about, which is your measurable and your time, that kind of stuff. You don't need to put that in the chat box, but we're going to bring that up later. If you have more than one goal, go ahead and do that. Naomi and Andre, these are really good goals. Another minute or two. Again, if you can, write down your goal, think about it. Think about something that you can measure. I want to buy a car, that's a great goal. Again, something you can achieve between January and March 31st of next year. Remodel and rebrand your business, that's a great goal. Summer internships, that's also a great goal. Ansumana, if you are interested in going upstate and working for a summer camp, I know somebody who's looking for summer interns, message me on the side after this, and I can help you out with that. Also, this is just for everybody. This is my IG. I use it more than anything else. You can message me there. Bike marathon, that's a good one. Biking longer distances and breathing techniques. Ryan, we can talk about that as when we get to the second half of this session, we can actually talk about what that goal would look like. And you probably already have a really good idea. So I would love for you to share your examples. Columbia, that's a good goal. They're a great school. Driver's license, establish good family relationships. That's a good one. Start swimming. Start a game company or sell my idea, get royalties. That's a dream. That is the dream. Get defined abs. It's tough for some people. Join the army, become a social worker in the field. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right, but Saran, if you're interested in learning about the military, please feel free to reach out to me. You can DM me on Instagram. I was in the military. I was both in the Marine Corps active duty, and then I was in the Army Reserves for a long time. And I can give you some insight and feedback into what it's like to get and be in the military. Get a higher paying job. Great goals. My Instagram is @Dan the man. Whoops, can't spell. Gannon. Yeah, it goes without saying, if any of you guys need help or support, I'll say this at the end as well. If you need insight, you want to work through these goals in greater detail, feel free to DM me. That's the best way to get a hold of me. You can DM me, you can ask me questions there. If you need some more one-on-one, we can always schedule some time to chat. But I really want to make sure that you guys know that this is a great way for you to reach out to me. Okay, great. So we have tons of really great examples. Thank you for sharing all those. I think a lot of us have very similar goals. A couple of people want to buy a car, a couple of people want to lose weight, a couple of people want to make more money. So look, a lot of us have some very, very shared and similar goals. And this is going to be really good content for us as we continue to move forward. So in the goal success action guide, as you can see here in the middle section, you would use this to write down what your goal is, some priorities for your goal. So that might be like making more time available, setting some money aside, things like that. And then this is a high level overview of what your measurables are going to be for the first month of your goal. So an example would be if you want to lose weight, and this is just the easiest one, so I'm going to use this as an example. My goal between January and March 31st is to lose 15 pounds. That's 5 pounds a month. So I'm going to write here in this section, lose 15 pounds. And then month, you can say here, you can go January to March, or you can just put the month of January. And then each week you want to write down what it is. So you can kind of use this as you choose. I usually tell people to go 1 month at a time, because if you go too far out, again, it gets muddled, it gets too complex, and you want to try and stay focused on what your goal is, because you're going to be constantly evolving and changing your goal as you go. So what you want to do is right here, if your goal is 15 pounds by the end of March, you're going to put January in this section. You're going to say lose 5 pounds. And then you're going to say what your priorities are. Eat healthier, set time aside for the gym, anything else you can think of. And then what you want to do each week. So week 1, go to the gym 3 times and eat healthier, and be as specific as possible. So you could either go to the gym 3 times. I also like to put time on things, especially with fitness or percentages. So time might be workout 30 minutes every day, because maybe you can't go to the gym. Maybe it's too far, maybe it costs money and you can't afford a gym membership. So what can you do in place of that? So work out 20 minutes a day, work out 30 minutes a day. Now, a really important piece to this part of it, the starting phase of setting your goal, set something achievable. If you're like not working out at all and you say, work out 60 minutes every day, do you really think you're going to be able to achieve that your first go? You're setting yourself up for failure before you even start. So set something up that is realistic and achievable. So if you're not working out at all, you need to be setting in here, I'm going to work out 15 minutes of every day for week 1. I'm going to work out 20 minutes every day for week 2, 25 for week 3, and then 30 for week 4. There's a scalability we need to keep in mind, and this has to deal with dopamine. Just like I said in the beginning, dopamine is a part of bad habits and a part of good habits, and you're constantly paving new dopamine superhighways in your brain all the time. So if you want to destroy a bad habit and replace it with a good habit, you need to make sure it's achievable. And what you do by this is when you put this information in the action guide, and then you can see your success as you go, you're literally giving yourself a hit of dopamine every time. And this is what I'm talking about when I say, do it for the dopamine, hacking your brain chemistry. Set a goal, 10 minutes, 3 times a week. Achievable. Then when you do it, maybe put a sticker in there, maybe write in. So in this next section, here's your week 1 plan. This is what I'm going to do for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay? Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to do 10 minutes. Put a sticker on it when you achieve it, or a check mark, or a box. Put out some priorities that you need to do for this week specifically. Week 1, you're planning on only working out 10 minutes a day for 3 days of the week. This is your first step. Maybe the other days that you're not working out, you're just not eating Burger King, or you're not grabbing Dollar Slice or something like that on your way, to and from. If your habit is to buy a Dollar Slice every day, maybe you cut that out 2 days of the week, right? Maybe you don't eat a bacon, egg, and cheese in the morning and 2 days of the week, whatever your habit is. Don't cut it out completely, just cut out a day or 2 days, something really achievable. And then what you do is at the end of this week, when you've reached Sunday, you're going to mark in here, did I hit my goal Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? Did I miss it? If I missed it, why did I miss it? What happened? When I talk about the review phase and the thing that successful people don't do, this is what they don't do. They don't actually look at their week and say, why did I miss it? I had a meeting, my train was late. Whatever situation that came up that prevented them from achieving their goal for that day. And the reason why this is so important, and I'm telling you right now, I cannot stress this enough. The reason why this part is so important is because this is where you see your opportunities to improve in real time. I can't remember what I ate yesterday. I need to write it down so I can make adjustments. If I'm trying to measure my success for a goal that's a year out, do you really think I'm going to remember what I did in January for that goal? There's no way. And if I wait 3 months to see where I'm missing my goal and I'm already falling so far behind, I'm not able to make the adjustments in real time. This right here, if I taught you nothing else today, nothing, this right here, reviewing your goals, writing them down and measuring them and making real-time adjustments is the #1 way to guarantee success in anything you do. Relationships, business, money, life, I don't care what it is, that is the #1 thing. You could set a crap goal. Your goal could make no sense at all. But if what you're doing is writing in here when you're achieving it and not achieving it, you will see where you're coming up with mistakes or you're falling short. This part is so important. When you write your goals out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, if you don't hit it on Monday, why didn't you hit it? Put that into your adjustments or your notes and evaluation section. Put it down there. Oh, adjustments. I know that I tried to set my goal where I worked out 10 minutes every morning. I'm too sleepy in the mornings. I can't do it. Okay, adjust. I'm going to do for next week, for week 2, I'm going to do 10 minutes or 15 minutes of working out, but I'm going to do it after school, or I'm going to do it before I go to bed. Make real-time adjustments to allow yourself the ability to start seeing the success as you go through your goal. Telling you right now, I know a Fortune 500 CEO who doesn't do this. And he sets goals for himself and his company and constantly fails, and then asks himself, why am I not hitting these goals? And the reason why is he's not seeing where he's making mistakes. He's only measuring his goal from beginning to end, not in between. He's not seeing where he's actually having bad habits, where he's preventing his success because he's doing something else. One of the things that we identified in this process is that he spent so much time in meetings that he wasn't actually able to do the work that he needed to do with his team. So what we did was, when we found this out, we started making his meetings 15 minutes instead of 30 minutes. So he doesn't do a single meeting over 15 minutes anymore. All of his meetings, no matter how important they are, or how many people are on the call, all of his meetings are 15 minutes. And he also sets up a 10-minute block between every meeting. This allows him an opportunity to review what this meeting is going to be about and to recap what that meeting was for, so he can make sure that he goes into a meeting with really clear deliverables that he's asking of his team. And then he can review to make sure he's sending follow-up to the leaders that need to execute. So now he has shorter meetings and he's able to more efficiently manage his time with the same amount of time in a day. He only was able to identify that by following this plan. This is really, really important. So week 2, same thing. Maybe you adjusted, maybe you added time, maybe you change your days. Maybe instead of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Because you know that on Monday and Wednesday, you have long class days. That won't work for you. You needed to change the days. The goal is still the same, 5 pounds in a month, 15 pounds in 3 months. But what you're doing is you're making a real-time adjustment to your goal. The reason why this is so powerful is because a lot of times we'll say, I'm going to work out 5 times a week, or I'm going to work out 3 times a week. And you choose your 3 days at the very beginning of this process. And you're like, well, I have to stay strict to those 3 days. But as you start really realizing and living your life, maybe those 3 days aren't good days for you, but you committed to this goal. So you're going to try and make it happen. And then what happens is you miss a Wednesday one week, and then you miss a Wednesday and a Friday the following week. And then you're like, well, my whole goal is derailed. I'll just start over in February. Raise your hand if you've ever started a goal and literally a month later, because you missed a couple of benchmarks, you're like, well, I'll just start over the next month. I'm guilty. I still do this. I'm definitely not free from my mistakes, okay? Like, I still do this sometimes. When you follow the action guide, the success rate is higher with this stuff, okay? So it's really, really important that we do this part of it. I'm telling you right now, this success guide, everybody uses it, and it's just a way for you to measure and track what you're actually doing. Another thing too is, I've had clients where we had a goal and the goal fell apart after a couple of months, and then we reassigned a goal, and that goal was to use the action guide. So everybody starts at different levels. You know, somebody said, you know, we had a couple examples in the chat. We had that somebody wanted to, you know, lose weight or get in shape. And then we had somebody who wants to get defined abs. You know, we're all at different levels. There's levels to everything in life. Find what works for you. If it's working, keep it going, build on it, build on success. You go to week 3 and you add time, you add days, you add, you know, or you subtract more unhealthy meals, or you know, subtract whatever you need, continue to add on it. If you need to, blow it all up and start over. If you're realizing while you're going through the process that it's not working, there is no shame in blowing all up and starting over. One of the VPs that I work with had a plan to roll out a clinical, as a VP at a hospital system, had a plan to roll out a clinical assessment for the entire, I think he oversees like 12 hospitals, and had a goal. We talked about it. We sat down and worked through the goal. And about 2 months in, realized that the goal actually wasn't achievable for his team because of a number of variables that had nothing to do with his team and his goal. It had more to do with the stakeholders within the hospitals and their ability to execute on stuff that they needed to have done. So we blew it all up. We literally started over from scratch. We realized after 2 goals that this was, or 2 months, this was not an achievable goal. And so we said, what is achievable with this new information that we got while trying to achieve the original goal? And we said, all right, great. Let's take that information, blow up our initial plan, and reset a whole new plan based on the new information that we have. A lot of people are very stubborn, very, very stubborn. I'm determined to do this, and they never are willing to re-engage plans. Setting achievable goals is really, really important. I do believe in shooting for the moon, but I also don't think you should shoot for the moon if you're not a scientist, right? Like, that makes no sense. If you're not an astronaut, you shouldn't be trying to land on the moon. So we got to be realistic with ourselves as well. Just an important thing to keep in mind. Again, repeat the process for week 4. And when you're done with week 4 of your month long, you know, again, this is part of a 3-month goal, lose 15 pounds. Month 1, lose 5 pounds. You've gone through all 4 weeks. What you need to do is you look at all 4 weeks collectively. You see where you made the real-time adjustments, what worked better, and then you set up another plan for the 2nd month. If you want to see real meaningful goals being achieved in real time, you want to hack dopamine, you want to pave new superhighways, every time you review a week and you're hitting your goals, you're feeling great. I'm hitting my goal, I'm feeling great. I'm going to tell you a little story about this that is a personal story for me. I've hurt my back, I think, well, now 3 times, but 2 times. I broke my back twice, once in the military. And then I broke it again afterwards. I was working out really hard and really heavy in really heavy weights in 2012, I think, 2011, 2012. And I was lifting a heavy weight. I was doing a power clean kind of with this weight, but it wasn't a bar, it was something else. Anyways, I arched my back, felt a pop, and I had really hurt my back very bad. And ever since then, I haven't been able to go on really long walks because of the pain that I would feel in my back, my lower back, and not necessarily while I was doing it, but after the fact. And I haven't been able to run since that point. So I haven't put a single mile of running on my body since I broke my back that 2nd time. And since then, I've also slipped a couple of discs and stuff because your back, you know, it's like once you hurt it once, it's like it hurts more often. It's more vulnerable to being hurt more often. So as I said at the beginning of the call, I have a goal to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in 2022. And this is a really aggressive goal for somebody who's gotten 2 severe back injuries, right? And then I told you that I set this goal to hike or walk 100 miles in a month. And this is a goal that I've duplicated many times since then. So that first month that I was doing this, I used this same model. I knew that I needed to change my habits. And so I tried as best I could to identify ways to get the most out of my current lifestyle. So I have a dog, a small dog, and I like to walk my small dog. And so what I did was I was like, well, I usually walk my small dog like 3/4 of a mile to a mile. I use an Apple Watch. And I was like, you know what, if I just add a half mile to another mile onto my walks with my dog, or I walk my dog twice a day for a half mile, a mile and a half, I'm going to get to 3 miles a day. And if I do 3 miles a day in 30 days out of a month, I'm already at 90 miles. So all I really need to do then is add a couple of miles here or there to hit my 100-mile goal. So I set my goal. Week 1 goes by. I'm feeling good. I'm making real-time adjustments and I'm seeing improvements. I know that I have a busy schedule for work and sometimes travel impacts me. So what I did was for the second week, I made an adjustment on the weekend to put a long hike in there. So I wasn't as stuck on my 3-mile goal every single day. So if my day got away from me, I wasn't able to achieve it. I know I'd already given myself a really strong head start. So what I did was on the weekends, I would hike like 7 to 10 miles. And that way I only had to do 15 miles for the remainder of the week. So in 6 days, I had to do 15 miles instead of in 7 days, I was doing 25, right? So week 2 goes, I'm doing really well. I'm actually pacing ahead of schedule. I'm at like 55, 60 miles going into week 2. So I'm a little bit ahead of schedule. I'm feeling really good. I'm making those real-time adjustments. I'm getting tons of shots of dopamine. Every time I'm looking at my watch and I'm seeing that I'm closing my rings, if you have an Apple Watch, you know what that means. I'm like feeling great about it. I'm closing my rings. I'm seeing my calorie counts. I'm seeing the miles that I'm doing. I'm looking at all the miles. I'm looking at all the walks that I'm going on. And I'm just feeling so good because I'm seeing the work pay off in real time. Then week 3 hits. And this is where I had a truly transformational moment. And this is what spurned my research into neuroscience, into understanding dopamine. I was laying in bed. This is near the end of week 3. Laying in bed about 10:30 at night, 11 o'clock, I can't remember. And I have this surge of energy in my body. Have you ever had like a sugar high, or has something really, really amazing happened in your life and you're just like, you know, like your body's like shaking, you just want to kind of like jump out of the air, like you have so much energy because of how good you feel? In that moment, laying in my bed, having broken my back twice, having not run in almost 10 years, I had so much energy that I wanted to go on a run. 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, I wanted to get up out of bed and go for a run because my body was yearning for that. It wanted to see the mileage on my fitness app, right? It wanted to see me put that mileage down. It wanted to see me get closer to the goal. My body started changing. After 3 weeks, about 21 days or so, I started to pave a new superhighway in my brain for a new habit. Transformational moment in my life. Now, I still didn't go on a run, admittedly, because I'm scared to death of my back getting hurt again. But that moment of realization was so important to me because it realized the power that I have if I stick to a goal and I've set myself up for success, that I literally start pulling away roadblocks and challenges. And almost like I'm going on autopilot, I start achieving goals easier. And then I started applying that same technique to other areas of my life. I grew up very poor, as I think I mentioned in the beginning. We didn't have a lot of money. I had to pay for myself, pay my way through college. I used the military to pay my way through college. In 2015, I moved out to Colorado to take an opportunity to be the chief operations officer of a commercial lock and door company. $3.5 million a year business. I was going to run everything. My friend was going to be the CEO. He's the one who was buying the business and wanted me to come out and operate it. He was going to pay me $150,000 a year. He paid for my place to live, everything. It was a great opportunity. I left everything that I had built from graduating college in New York, having an apartment in Brooklyn, everything. I left it all to go be this chief operations officer for this commercial lock and door company in Colorado. 10 months in, this process, I'm running the business, I'm learning how it operates, I'm making efficiency improvements. The owner of the business, who it's the agreement that they did was like a lease to buy or a lease to own. And 10 months in, he says, I'm changing my mind, I don't want to sell. So I went from having a career, an apartment in Brooklyn, everything I ever wanted, to then what I believed was going to be an upgrade of my life, being a chief operations officer, making $150,000 a year, and this really amazing opportunity for me to transform this small business to unemployed. I had no money, dead broke. I had no family to ask for money. I knew no one in Colorado. The apartment that I had set up for the job obviously went away because the deal for this company was gone. And I had no alternative other than to get a credit card. And I started putting my rent on a credit card at 16% interest. $1,500, it was like, I think it was like $1,300 a month. 15 or 16% interest every month I'm paying on the $1,300 I'm paying for rent, which I can't pay down because I don't have a job. So I'm putting my rent on a credit card. I accumulated $20,000 in debt. While I was moving, I got another job, thankfully, back in the New York area. While I was moving from Colorado back to New York, I got into a car accident in the rental truck that I had, towing my car with all of my belongings in the back. Got into a car accident. I totaled the rental truck, totaled the car I was towing, and almost more than half of my belongings were damaged beyond utilization. Couldn't use them anymore. Trash. I had to pay to get a new rental truck. I wasn't making money at the time. I was moving back for this new job. So I still was broke, still unemployed. It was like 3 months at this point that I was unemployed. Accumulating debt. This is, like I said, 2016, I think, at this point. I was 20, how old was I? 2016. 27, 28, something like that. Early 20 or late 20s. I had to rebuy all those things. I had to pay thousands of dollars for the rental truck because my insurance didn't cover all of what that truck was. I had to get a new rental truck so I can continue moving whatever I had left to New York. Thousands of dollars. Then I had to move into a new place where I still wasn't collecting, checks yet for this new job. So over the course of about an 8 or 9 month period, I accumulated $20,000 in credit card debt at 16% interest. No way I was ever going to pay that off. I was going to be making payments on that for 35 years. I set a goal. I said, I'm going to start paying down this. This is how I'm going to do it. I've used a ton of different variables to get myself there. I took out some personal loans to get with lower interest rates, with more aggressive payment scales, everything like that. I think my credit at this time was, I don't know, 650. Because when you have so much debt on credit, that it's really negative impact on your credit history. So my credit report was like at a 650. And if we fast forward 8 years, I bought a house. My credit report's in an 815, 810, 815, somewhere right now. And I have only a couple, like $10,000 or so of my student loans. I have a good salary. Everything is good. Everything is moving forward. I had to make real-time adjustments to pay down all of that debt. And I'm still paying it off. I still have some debt that I'm paying off, but I'm paying off debt over the course of 10 years ago, I got it. 15 years ago, if you count my student loans, right? Because I got some community college student loans and some LIU, because LIU is a crazy expensive school for absolutely no reason at all, by the way. I don't know why it's so expensive. It's not like Columbia or Yale, but anyways. And I'm still paying off some of that debt, but now I'm in the right direction. And it took a long time, and it took a long goal that I had to break down to a monthly portion of it, where I took $50 every month and paid $50 more to my credit. And then when I paid off one loan, I took that money and I put it towards the other loan. And then when I paid off that loan or that credit card, I took that and I paid it towards the other credit card. And I constantly built and built and built. There's actually a book that talks about this. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you've never read it, you should read it. I don't believe in all the philosophies that are in that book, but it does talk a lot about, compounding interest and stuff like that. This stuff is really fascinating, and finance is really important for all of you to understand. That's a total side note, but I just wanted to give you a real world experience of how, one, I realized the power of goal setting when I started hiking, and then I realized the power of goal setting in my own personal life from a financial perspective. And I bring those two examples in because you guys have talked about those two things for a lot of you having similar goals. You know, making more money, higher paying jobs, wanting to buy a car. That's essentially the same process that you follow. I really love this quote. It's Pablo Picasso quote. Our goals can only be reached through a vehicle of a plan in which we must fervently believe and upon which we must vigorously act. There is no other route to success. I believe in this wholeheartedly. This goal success action guide is your vehicle. That is your vehicle of a plan. And anything that we talk about today, anything that we do can only be achieved if you go upon this process with tenacity, with a hunger to achieve. If you approach it with a laissez-faire attitude, and you don't really care, or you're not really interested in putting in the work, you will fail. Anything worth achieving in life requires work and dedication, period. There's no shortcut. There's no way to work around it. Anything in life. Please keep that in the front of your mind as you think about your goals and as you think about next year and what you want to achieve. There is no shortcut. There is no easy route. It all comes with work, and it all comes with believing in yourself and knowing that you have to make room for that success in your life. So in the action guide, I also put a section in here where you can evaluate through a couple of key questions. These are key questions that you need to ask yourself in real time. So question 1, did I meet or miss my goal? Why? Is there anything abnormal that prevented achievement? Question 2, did my goal go as expected? If not, why? If yes, how can I replicate those results? Question 3, if you missed your goal, what could you do to ensure it is achieved the next week or the next month? Question 4, if you achieved your goal, what strategies or processes helped you stay on track? Every single week and every single month, you need to ask yourself these same 4 questions. These will help guide you to creating a more efficient goal and plan process moving forward. Here's a sample timeline. This is what I believe you should follow. You need to create your goal. Again, make sure that it's measurable, that it's tangible. Something like a unit of measure, like day, time, weight, anything you can think of that is a unit of measure. Make sure you create your goal with a strategy in mind. Use the action plan, review your weekly progress, and then you need to repeat it week over week. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or idea. This action guide is literally a step-by-step plan that you can apply to achieve anything you want in life. You want to buy a new car, you want to lose weight, you want to get defined abs, you want to go study abroad, you want to get better grades, you want to get higher pay. Boil it down, think about what that looks like, and implement it into this action guide, and you will get there. I guarantee it. This action guide is literally the step-by-step process for success. You can print this out, you can use it time and time and time again, you can set it up for every single month. If you're dedicated and you follow the process with discipline, you will succeed. There's about 50 minutes left. I want to turn the rest of this time over to you. Ask me questions, get opinions on your goals. Ask me if you don't know how to measure your goal. What can I do to support you? Share your goals with other people. Encourage a goal success buddy, right? Like find somebody who has a similar goal and say, how are we going to achieve this together? I want to spend the next 50 minutes talking about all of those things and working through goals with you collectively together. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
I wasn't here at the beginning. I was a little bit late, but here I am. And my name is Fatima. I'm a student at Hostos, and I'm pursuing civil engineering major. So as a Black woman, I struggle a lot saying, oh, this is the right choice, this is not the right choice. But what I know is that's what I want to do, and that's for sure. So I'm just going to do it. And I know when you love something, there's no way you're not going to succeed on it. So, but I feel like for me, I owe to myself because I know I can do it. Like in my head, my plan is to get a minor in business and get a master in architecture. That's what I have in mind. Now, I've been like here in America for literally 2 years. I don't have like my resume is pretty empty, you know. I need internship, build relation, network, experience, and everything. Sometimes I just feel like, I mean, I don't have enough, you know. So I don't know what can be your advice to me.
Yep. This is a really great situation scenario. One thing too, Fatima, I actually know a very successful woman who is Black, who is an engineer. And if you're interested in speaking to her about her experiences and what she's done to achieve success in her life, DM me on my Instagram and I will connect you to her. She is amazing. She's a whole lot of fun. She actually is from New York City. She doesn't live there anymore, but she's from New York City. I have a great relationship with her and I'm sure she would love to talk to you, give advice, feedback, thoughts. So that's just one part of this. So again, DM me my Instagram. I'll put it in here again, just so you guys have it. I can't spell. Okay, perfect. So DM me if you want me to connect you to her. In your situation, you mentioned a few things that I think are good starting points. You said that your resume is empty and you don't have any internship opportunities, and you're kind of looking for ways to get yourself moving forward in that progress or that process. There's a few things that I recommend for you. You know where you want to be. Architecture, business, these are interests of yours. Choose one. Choose one area that you're most passionate about first. Think about something that you can do in 3 months. Maybe it's find an internship opportunity. Maybe it is add to your resume. Maybe it is a good one that you said was networking. Networking is so key for success. Figure out what one you want to focus on. And I'll just use networking as an example. From January to March 31st of 2022, I'm going to network as much as possible. Now, what could we do to network as much as possible in 3 months? Give yourself a measurable goal. Every week, I'm going to try to connect with 10 people. What is that? What do I need to do? Or let's say every month I'm going to connect with 10 people. Make it a little more achievable. Every month I'm going to try and connect with 10 people. What would you need to do every week to reach your 10 connections that month? Let's look at some tools you could use. You could use LinkedIn and just reach out to people, add people to your network that are in those fields of your areas of interest. You could focus on Black women specifically. And you can say, hey, I notice you're an engineer. I want to learn from you. I want to follow in your footsteps. I want, what are your, you can target it that way. You could make phone calls. That's a little like cold calling, kind of sucks, but that's one way you could do it. A recommendation that I make is to reach out to your faculty, your professors who are in business, and ask them questions. Network with them first and ask them if they can introduce you to people. And then what you want to do is you want to think about all the strategies that you could potentially utilize and put it into the success action guide. Week 1, I'm going to connect with 20 people on LinkedIn in this industry. Week 2, I'm going to, and I'm going to try, so week 1, 20 people in this industry, and I'm going to try to start conversations with 3 of them. Week 2, I'm going to connect with my faculty. And you can also do it where you're doing some LinkedIn connections and connecting with your faculty in week 1 and so on. So you can kind of frame it the way you want, but build it out in the action guide. And aim 3, 3, 3, 3. So there you're already pacing over goal. Make 3 connections and have 3 conversations with new people the whole first month. That's how you break it down. And then you find out, like, maybe LinkedIn, you're not making connections on LinkedIn and it's not working for you. So maybe you need to trash LinkedIn and try something else. Maybe you're making better connections through faculty, so you want to talk to more faculty about it. You want them to connect you with faculty at other schools. So you want to put more effort into that one. And so go through the action guide step by step, choose one area to focus on that'll get you closer to your goal. And once you start networking with more people, it becomes easier. Maybe by March, the end of March, you have tons of people you're connected with, and now they're telling you, this is what you need to do to get going on your resume. I have people who are looking for interns in architecture, or I have people who are looking for internships in business. These things all build on each other. So start with something that's achievable and attainable, use the action guide, put it in there, measure your success, start slow, and eventually by making connections on LinkedIn, making connections with your faculty, reaching out to friends. If you don't use Clubhouse and you have an iPhone, I think actually Clubhouse is now for Android too. Get on Clubhouse, get into an engineering chat on Clubhouse, meet people. You can meet people all over the world in engineering on Clubhouse. You can make connections. Yep, and Denise, I hope I said that right. Denise put in here internship opportunities. So there's a lot of things you can do. Maybe you apply to 3 internships every week until you get one. It's a good way to go about it. I hope that was really helpful for each Fatima.
Thank you. It was. Thank you so much.
And then I think Fatumata, you have your hand raised. I hope I said your name right.
Yeah. Can I say something about what just Fatima said before I say mine?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Fatima, I do understand about everything that you say, because like the same thing that you feel, I feel the same way. You know, we all African and then we all Black women. But one thing that I will tell you that I learned, I've been here like is about 10 years now. I will say that I was thinking that it was almost late for me to do what exactly that I need. But like in last 2 months, I realized that it's not like being a Black woman can prevent you do what you really want to do. Because I have a job in the hospital that I never thought that there was a lot of Black women who is like a PA, like nurses women, like nurses and everything. In last 5 years, I was thinking like, okay, if I want to do something, I maybe, you know, like the way someone feel like, okay, I cannot do this one because I am this one. I was thinking is only maybe white people or something like who has opportunity to do something that is better where they can make money. But in that new job that I have, they show me and then tell me that I realize, okay, I can do what I really want. One thing that I will tell you is like, don't like never blame yourself, like never say that you cannot. As long as you put on your mind that you can be able to do something, you will do it. Doesn't matter like if you are Black or not Black. There's a lot of stuff that we have all race inside any fields. So I think you can just think about that and then put yourself where you really want to be.
I disagree. I really disagree. I think that you're not being empathetic. I think that she's only been here 2 years. It's not her terrain. There is there's such it's such a huge battle, just the language barrier. Also, her skin color. Maybe you've been here 10 years, so you've kind of learned how to maneuver. She's still trying to find her way, her balance. How do I do this? Who can I reach out to? And so I don't think that you saying to her that being a Black woman shouldn't be, yeah, that's probably one of the biggest reasons most of us don't succeed. It's because of our skin color. Should we allow that to distract us and keep us from doing what we want to do? No, but I don't think that it's fair what you said to her. I think that being from where she's from, she's learned English in 2 years. She's doing amazing. And I think you focused on the wrong things that she was saying, you know, like that wouldn't have even been something I would have even bothered with. I think maybe encouraging her and telling her, like, I've been here 10 years and this is what I accomplished. You could do it too. You know, I think that I'm very proud of her, and I like the advice that Dan gave her, and I think that she's gonna be fine, and you know, just keep your head up and keep going. And I think Dan is very intelligent, and I one of the reasons I'm just quiet right now is because for the last workshop, this is one of the best. Thank you, Jason, for that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know if you understand. I'm not like giving no discourage. It's just like I was trying to let her know that she can do what she want. I know it's hard. I've been going through a lot of stuff until where I am. It's not like I never tell her that she cannot be able to do it. I'm just giving her like an encourage, like to let her know she can be able to do what she
I
really
never
wants.
said that though. That's not what I said. You wasn't listening.
It's just because you say like.
But I'm gonna, you know what? It's okay. I'm gonna.
Well,
it's
so
not
let
that
me jump in
serious.
here. Let me jump in here. I think that there's value in this conversation. In this one way, there's no bad way to ask somebody for their opinion and their insight as you craft your journey. And again, I'm sorry if I say your names wrong, but what Rina is saying and what Fatoumata is saying come from two different perspectives. And so what we need to do is we always need to reach out to people and ask, what do you think? What's your journey? What is your perspective? And once we learn from other people, we take that information as we're setting our goals and as we're setting our journey, and we try to chart our own path. And we try to chart our own decisions based off the information and the lessons that we learned from others. And so I think that even with disagreement, or even with shared ideas or differing ideas, there's still value we pull from each other when we talk about things. I think that what we should do for the rest of this call is make sure we talk about goals, but I don't want to discourage dialogue offline with other people when you have conversations, whether you disagree or not, or even if they're in the same vein, right? I want us to always encourage dialogue because this is how we learn from each other. And, you know, and I'll give a good example before we move on. I'm a white guy that grew up in rural Oregon. I had no exposure to race and the different races, different cultures, anything like that growing up until I moved to New York. And it took that exposure and listening and learning from people for me to learn and understand what that was. And there were certain things when I was younger that I disagreed with, and it took me time to come around to learn. And there were certain things that I really were impactful and meaningful to me. And all of those conversations and all of those situations helped me frame a better journey towards success. It made me have more meaningful relationships, more meaningful connections. It made me a better manager of people. You know, growing up as somebody from a very white town in rural Oregon where I didn't know I didn't have any exposure to race or cultures. I didn't even know the difference. Like if you'd asked me, 20-year-old me, I would have thought everybody was Mexican that was brown because that was all I knew. I didn't know any better, right? And now you live in New York, you realize there's so many different cultures and so many different experiences and so many diverse histories. It's so important to have dialogue, and it's so important to listen and learn from other people from different backgrounds. So don't close your mind off to those doors ever, because they will help you grow. And that's not, it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't even have to do with color. It has to do with all of everything. Educational backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, all that stuff. And all of that can play a role in how you frame your goals. Because my goals as a white male will be different and will look different than somebody's goals who is a Black male or a brown female, a young person, an old person, because we're in different areas of our life with different cultural experiences, with different resources, with different challenges. And so those conversations are really meaningful. So I'm glad that you guys both spoke about it. And I hope that that was impactful feedback from somebody sitting in my seat. So we still have about a half hour left, and I want to work through some more goals. Anybody want to jump in with some more questions? And I know, Fatoumata, you said that you also maybe had a goal that you wanted to workshop through as well.
Well, oh no.
Did you have a goal that you wanted to? Okay, I just wanted to double check before I moved on to somebody else.
Oh, you can go next.
All right, anybody else that wants to workshop through a goal? You can put it in the chat, we can talk about it there, or you can jump in, you can come off mute.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in, Dan. One of the terrible things about the remote is that we don't get to be together. And one of the great things about what we have always been able to do is to be in the same room. And when you're able to have dialogue, when you're like in a community, like when we would meet in person, it's like 1,000 times better because we're able to have these conversations without sort of looking at a picture or a name up on a screen, and it allows us to sort of break through some of the walls and the barriers that are presented by this environment. It doesn't mean that this environment isn't a good environment to work in. The one thing that I've learned in 14 years of being doing these type of things, doing our workshops, is that you all are so brilliant, and you all have leadership qualities within you, and coming to these meetings in and of itself makes you a leader, and you all want to make positive contributions to the group and to other people. That sometimes your mindset is like, I'm making a really positive contribution and somebody is also saying the same thing, and you may have missed something in terms of the what was said. And what I heard in the conversation, just to give you my perspective as a listener, was you kind of were all being very positive about the situation and giving Fatima some positive feedback. It may just have been that something skipped a beat because we're in a remote environment or because some word was missed or something. But it's great. I mean, dialogue is really important. It's the only way that people actually learn in life is actually to have a conversation, and to realize where the differences are, where the similarities are, and you grow from that. And that's I really miss being together with you guys in the same room, because those are those landmark moments where you're just and there's some alumni here who could tell you where people just like you actually get to speak it out, and you realize how bonded you are with other people because you're actually you are defining yourself by being part of this group, by being in the room and at the moment and trying to get to that next level. And so it's great, and I appreciate all of you for making your contributions, and don't get frustrated by it. And again, I think sometimes it's the electronic environment, the digital world that we have to navigate through, but thank you for everybody for speaking up.
Thanks, Jason. And while we're on the topic of virtual and putting these things together, it takes a lot of work and effort for Jason to do this, to coordinate, to work with all the speakers, to find the speakers, to set the time aside, to make this all happen for all of you. Let's take a moment to just recognize his effort. It's a lot of work. And thank you, Jason, because you're awesome. And it's such a pleasure to work with you, and the space that you put together and you create. You deserve all the accolades. You've done this year and year and year and year. And I was introduced to you by Arel Moody. Some of you probably know who that is. And there's a reason why I know that Arel loves working with you. And that's because you love to put the students first and the leadership first. And so, if you guys get a chance, put a thank you to Jason in the chat. Send him a message. If you felt like this session or any session before me was impactful and powerful, recognize him as well as the people who come to speak, because he is the reason why this all happens. He is the one who reached out to me, asked me to set time aside, coordinated with me in my schedule. It's a lot of work on the back end for him that you guys don't see. And he really deserves a lot of credit for creating and putting spaces out there for you guys to be successful beyond the classroom and later on in life. So big ups to you, Jason. You really deserve it, man. You're awesome. All right, about a half hour left. I don't want to keep anybody, but I do want to help. So what I'm going to do is there was a couple of comments. I think Denise said something, and I saw Nahomi say something. So I want to talk through a couple of what they brought up, and then I'll open it right back up for more questions if it's in there. Also, Andre dropped his LinkedIn. Connect with people on LinkedIn. If you got a LinkedIn, go ahead and drop it in there. You guys should all be connecting with each other. You're obviously all in this shared space, which means you all have something in common. So that's a great starting point. Denise, you said that one of your goals is to remove your mental hurdles. And you're close to graduation, but you have, your anxiety is escalating and your fear of failure is coming back. So this is actually, I'm really glad that you brought this up, because this is something that all of us experience, fear of failure. Nobody is immune to the fear of failure. I don't know a single person who has ever not been afraid of something really important and meaningful to them of not working. And I know this sounds like a broken record, but using the success action guide for your goals is a really good way of staying grounded in them and feeling like you have control. A lot of where we feel our fear in life and in goals and in success is from a feeling of lack of or a loss of control of that scenario. We're not able to control what's happening, where there's so many outside influences, there's so many things that could derail what I'm aiming for or what I'm trying to achieve. Having your plans and your goals written down and using all manner of different things, a vision board, a goal buddy, you know, somebody to help, like, check in on you. There's so many different ways you can be creative and unique to that. There's apps that you can use that help you with your goals. There's tons of different things that you can do to help you with your goals, but it's really, really important to have them written down and tangible so you can see them and you can see yourself moving towards them. You can see your continual progress, because this gives you a little feeling of control in an out of control world. Right? That's the one thing you can control, is the one little action you can take moving forwards towards your goal consistently every single week and every single month. Even if your goal is something that's a year, 2, 5, 10 years out, it's the one thing that you can do to feel like you have a little bit of control. And I know for me specifically, when I have things written down, it's really, it's a much better, much easier for me to feel like I have control, and for me to not fear, have that overwhelming fear or anxiety of me losing control of my goals, or the fear of failing those goals, because I can see how close I'm getting to them and I can see the steps that I'm taking to make sure I achieve them. I hope that was helpful for you in what you asked. So Naomi said, I would like to work in becoming more confident and eliminating self-doubt. So this is a good one. If you could drop in the chat an example of an area where you don't feel confident, so I kind of know an example to build off of, that would be great. Because self-confidence is a broad topic. Or even like maybe share with me an area where you feel self-doubt. So self-doubt about what? Self-doubt, anything you're comfortable with sharing, of course. And this is for Naomi. And I actually have some people that are dropping their own ideas in here, which is great. So image and acceptance. Yep, making the decision. Okay, yeah, I've been there. Oh man. So okay, I'm going to start with yours and making a decision. And knowing that you just graduated is an important part of this. I don't think there's been a time in my life where I've questioned if I'm making the right choice. I've always questioned. I mean, not in manners of like areas of ethics, right? Like, you know, there's certain things that you know are right. But in terms of choices for your future, I think there's always a little bit of doubt there. Am I going down the right path? You know, here I've hit a fork in the road. Should I go right or should I go left? And you don't know what the end of that road is going to look like, and you don't know if you're making the right choice. I definitely I have great empathy for that feeling. And yes, congratulations on just graduating, by the way. Thanks, Denise, for saying that. It was a good reminder. Always congratulate success. I'm a huge cheerleader, by the way. Sorry to get diverted a little bit, but if you are on Instagram, I'm just now starting to get on TikTok, but I am the biggest cheerleader ever. I love sharing success. I love rooting people on. I message hundreds of people every day on Instagram saying, great job. You know, even if I've never even met them, I'm always like, you're killing it, you're crushing it. Because I think that that's so important to hear from other people. I also believe in little moments that are little moments of encouragement for people, even if I don't know you. So that's a little personal goal of mine. Yep, dopamine hits. So anyways, to get back on track, I'm going to use a relationship example for this because I think it relates. I dated somebody for 5 years. Her relationship ended in 2018. So this is an older example, but I dated her for 5 years. We met in college. And our relationship deteriorated. And I was stuck between this idea of trying to make it work and wanting to dedicate the time to make it work, and then letting it go. And I saw value in both choices. If I tried to make it work and she tried to make it work, we could have had a really successful relationship in my mind at this time. If I let it go, maybe we'd both be happier. I didn't really know which one was the right choice at that time. So what I did was I thought about, and this is a mutual decision for both of us, but we talked about and I thought about where I wanted to go in my life and what was important to me. And I talked about my values and I thought about my values. And we ultimately decided to part ways. But the one thing that I did that made this particular decision give me a little bit less anxiety and a little bit less self-doubt was I did it with conviction. We don't know the answers. We don't know what our future holds. That's one of the fears and joys of life, is that we don't know what the future holds for us. We don't know how long we're going to be on this planet. We don't know how long we're going to be alive. We don't know how long relationships are going to last, how long success will last. We don't know the answer to those things. What we do know is how to look at our life as it is in its current state and make the best decision possible for what we want, where we're at right now. And then when we make a decision, when we pivot and we choose the left fork or the right fork, that we walk down that path meaningfully and with conviction. Because even if you fail, you know you did everything you could to make the best possible decision, so you're not looking backwards. If you make decisions without thinking about it, and you make decisions without considering the alternatives, and you make decisions with snapshot decisions, a big one, I'm talking big ones, you question a lot of your actions. You constantly are looking backwards. And that's a hindrance to forward progress. That's a detriment to moving forward. So anything we do in life, and this is a less workshopy answer and a more personal improvement, like personal life representation answer. Everything I do in my life, right, wrong, indifferent, mistakes, failures, successes, whatever, I look at all the variables and I make the best decision that I can with who I am today, the knowledge that I have today, the experiences that I have today, asking people for advice. I make the best possible decision I can, and I go full steam ahead, knowing that I'm giving that decision its full respect and its full effort. And if I fail or if it's a mistake, I know that I gave it the best shot possible and it wasn't right for me, and then I choose another path, doing the exact same process. For somebody who's just graduated, the world of possibilities is in front of you. You cannot fail if you keep moving forward. You cannot fail if you move and make decisions with conviction, because every step along the way, you're going to learn something about yourself, learn something about your capabilities, learn something about a career or a job or a relationship, and you keep moving forward. And I can tell you that that failed relationship that I had made me a better man for the relationship that I'm in today. And I needed to fail there to learn those lessons and to reflect on that, to be a better partner now, so that I have a successful relationship now. So we always have to look at our failures in that way. And the failures seems to be a common thread throughout this conversation. It's such an important thing to consider. Don't be afraid of making decisions and stepping into those decisions with conviction and following through with those and working hard on those decisions, and results come what may, because you're going to survive, right? Like, you're going to fail, you're going to succeed, but no matter what, you're going to survive. So keep moving forward and lean on people. You're not alone. You're not alone in this world. Lean on me, DM me, message me, send me an email, whatever you need to do. If you need support, I'm here for you. I will cheerlead you. I will help you. I will give you ideas, advice, whatever you need. I'm here for you. I know Jason would be more than happy to respond to an email from any one of his students. And I know that there's a whole host of your friends and your family members who would probably do the same thing. I hope that helps you out.
Can I say something? Who else is graduating? I forgot that I graduate I'm done in like a week or two. Also, I want to apologize to the young lady. I hope I didn't offend you. I was just saying that she is doing great, and the fact that she's only been here 2 years. And a lot of times people say things and we're like, well, why do you feel that way? But that's the way I feel, you know? And I'm trying to overcome it. And I'm glad that I'm in a room where I can speak about my challenges and get some advice on how to overcome it. So I didn't really mean to, if I hurt your feelings, like, I have a really brash personality and I say what's on my mind. And so I apologize if I rubbed you or anyone else the wrong way. But also congratulations to anyone else that's graduating like in a week or two. And thank you so much, Jason. And Dan.
My pleasure. Congratulations on graduating. It's funny. I forget, it's been so long, but graduating is such a big achievement. You have to give yourself a pat on the back. It's a financial investment. It's a time investment. It's setting you up for your future. So congratulations for anybody who's graduating. And maybe I won't see you before you graduate in May, or June or whatever that is, but congratulations if you're going to be graduating this year. For those of you who aren't graduating, stay the course. You're going to get there one step at a time.
Here I am again. I'm sorry, Dan. I don't mean to. I just want to say, yeah, congratulations,
man.
Rena. And I want to shout you out. Rena, if you don't mind, I'm going to say that you started back at Hostos a very long time ago, and you were determined to finish at Hostos, and so
20 years.
We're very proud of you, and really
amazing
for staying the course and getting back and completing it. And we wish you all the success. And remember, the Leadership Academy is always your home, no matter where you go.
Thank you so much, Jason. I mean, you've been such a wonderful, wonderful inspiration and such like great help. I literally email and text you for everything. So thank you so much. This has like been the best semester of my life. My last, I can't even believe that and I think that Dan said something, that all my failures, with school has really prepared me for this semester where I'm like winning. I haven't had anything less than an A in like the last 2 semesters, and all my semesters before, I would get like maybe a B. If I got a B, it was because the professor thought I was cute or something, because it was like I was a D or a C. So it's like all those failures has really prepared me for, this semester's the ones going forward. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm so grateful to be in a room with so many people that wants to win and that are winning. So thank you, everyone.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. 20 years, great journey. So we have about 15 minutes left. I'm going to give one last call for maybe one more situation or scenario. If you don't have one, that's okay. I want to remind you all, you can reach out to me anytime. The conversation, the work that we've done here, the information that I've shared with you does not have to end here. Reach out to me. You can follow me on Instagram. You can reach out to me directly. I will also drop my email in here if email is a more comfortable platform for you. And I'm sorry, you can hear me typing. You can reach out to me directly via email. If you want to set up time to talk, if you are going through a challenging time, I'm a resource for you. We're all part of one big family. We all need to lean on each other. I don't want anybody to feel like they're ever alone. 2020 and 2021 have been a very difficult year for so many of us. And one of my personal goals this year for everybody that I encounter and everybody that I meet is to remind them that they're not going through the journey of life alone, and that I will always make time for someone if they need someone to speak to. If they're going through a difficult time, it doesn't have to be about goals. It could be about anything. I'm not a professional, so if there's anything that's very, very serious, I will probably say you should probably talk to a professional. But if you just need somebody to cry to yell at because of the situation that you're dealing with, I'm here for you. Life is too hard to go through it by ourselves. It's way too hard. And so we need to lean on each other. If we want to be successful and we want to succeed with our goals, you can't do it alone. And that's, I think, the reason why I coach so many clients these days, is because clients are realizing that they can't do this on their own. They think they know goals, but they don't. They think they know how to achieve success, and maybe in some areas they do, but in a lot of areas they don't. And so that's what I do, is try to help people. So I want to encourage all of you, as you're wrapping up and we're going into the holidays can be a tough time for each other. It can be a tough time for family, especially if you're away from family. Reach out to people, spread love, give people encouragement, send them high fives. Tell them that they're valued, especially during a pandemic when families have been torn apart because of vaccination and non-vaccination status. And there's just so many variables out there, and we don't need to go deep dive into the politics of it. But I guarantee you, if you reached out to 5 people, somebody's hurting, and they would love to hear from you and love to know that they're valued. And I'm here for you too. So reach out, goal questions, success questions. If you need help with your goal, if you need insight on your goal, that's what I'm here for. Reach out to me on Instagram. You can reach out to me via email. With that, I just want to say thank you, Jason, for setting this time and giving me a platform to speak. I hope you all saw value in it. If you did see value in it, I would love to hear that feedback. If you didn't see value, or if I didn't answer your question, I would also love to hear that feedback. I'm constantly trying to improve this presentation. I'm constantly trying to improve the Goal Success Action Guide. So if there's something in there that doesn't make sense or doesn't, needs more clarification, send me your feedback. You're all brilliant, super intelligent people that probably have a lot of value to provide to me to make my presentation even more beneficial for the next group that I share it with. So I would love to hear that from all of you.
Well, thank you, Dan. Thanks for being here, making time. He's been on the road for like a couple of weeks. He's been doing all this stuff.
4 weeks.
He's not even home right now. He's still on the road. He found a little quiet space to work in. So let's give him a round of virtual applause. Great workshop. Good way to go off into the new year. Dan actually joined us for the first time last year during our winter workshop series. So it's right around the same time in January to talk about, the dopamine and working towards your goals and things of that nature. So Dan, thanks for coming back. Obviously recommended to me by my good friend Darrell Moody, and is such a great mentor, such a great supporter of wonderful speakers, and so many folks who've joined us over the years have come through his recommendation. So thanks for being here. Virtual applause, however we do it. And I just since I have a little extra time, I just want to close out with everybody. So in the chat, I did put the link for the evaluation for the fall workshops. Please help me out with that. The college wants to know, that this is going on and that it's having some impact with all of you. So your contributions, whether you liked a workshop, didn't like a workshop, it's important just to make the contributions. So if you could fill that out now that we finished the full workshops, you can do that. If you had filled it out right before Dan's workshop, because I only put it out this week, you can go back and do another one just for Dan's workshop, and I will put the data together at the end. So please do that. I also put in the chat the steps for the certificates. It's complicated. It's long and complicated. I said I was going to do it, so I wanted to make sure that I honored that I said I was going to do it. I will send that by email as well. It'll either be later tonight or early Monday morning. The certificates will be there. They're already made. One of the things I did during the workshop is I was clicking who had completed, the 7 workshops or more, if you hadn't done it already. So all of those things are clicked and ready to go. It's not a big fancy certificate, but it is on file with the college. So it is a valuable thing for you to have. And speaking of certificates, we're going to go back into our winter workshops in a couple of weeks, starting on January 10th. So I've still filling out the spots with our speakers. We have about 5 of them already booked, and we're waiting for 3 additional ones. Um, and I hope that whether you're have graduated, Rena, or anybody else, or you are still going to be studying in the spring, if you're not taking winter classes, if you can come even just to one of the sessions over the 4 days, we'd love to have you. I can tell you it's brand new speakers. I'm trying to like spread the love this year and get all brand new speakers for each of the different sections of fall, spring, and winter. And some folks who weren't with us last year and because of the pandemic have come back, including our good friend Sean Duff, who has a brand new book out, and we're going to try to buy the books and give them out to everybody. So these are great opportunities. We also have 2 alumni coming back to do workshops. Yuseli Ortiz, who's a big and and my good friend Michael Cruz.
Sally.
Yeah, who I write recommendation letters for every week, and I can tell you that everybody should be smiling right now, because this is the proof in the pudding of what Dan said. You have me as a mentor, right? I am your mentor, whether you want me as a mentor or not. I can tell you, I've been writing letters for Michael Cruz since he graduated in 2011. He just got the Wrangell Fellowship, which is a massive, major fellowship. He's been graduated from Hostos and City College, and he's been working and also he's already traveled the world. He was in the Peace Corps. He's done amazing things, but he still wanted to do this Wrangell Fellowship. I wrote one of the letters of recommendation for his Wrangell Fellowship, so he just contacted me last Friday when we were in workshop, and he got that. So remember, I am the guy who will write that recommendation letter for you that will get you that that opportunity. I can't promise you, right? But I'm going to write it, whether they accept it or not, they like it or not, and I've done a pretty good job, right? We have a United States diplomat, we have a couple of doctors, we have people in engineering, have people doing lots of things in education, people who are doing things in nursing. So look to me. I'm always here for you. For the rest of your lives, I'm going to be the guy who you can contact to write that letter of recommendation. So Dan is going to be a tangential mentor, right? Somebody you can reach out to every so often through Instagram and Facebook or email, and get his advice on things, important advice that I can't necessarily give you. And I'll probably guide you to him if I think he'd be helpful to you. But I'm your mentor for everything else. I'm the guy who keeps track of all these hours that you do, all of these workshops that you participated in, all of the things, all the contributions that you made to the college, even in a virtual environment. And I'm going to be the guy who writes those letters of recommendation for you. And I'm telling you the truth. When Michael comes, if you're at the winter workshops, ask him how many letters of recommendation I've written for him. And by the way, he's not an easy guy to write letters of recommendation for, because he's actually the guy who sends me back the letter of recommendation that says, no, you have to add this. And then I got to sit down and then go through the recommendation. And, everything's all nice and neat and tailored, and I have to go and revise it and find a way to make sure that everything fits in there. But that being said, and I think some folks in here I've written some recommendations for in the last couple of weeks. Yes, and last minute too, Denise, but don't abuse that. My good friend Yanaris Liriano, who was here last week, my great story about her was like 10 o'clock at night, on the night that the application was due for, I can't even remember what the program was, she asked me to write her a letter of recommendation. And then asked me where the local post office was open at that particular time of night, right? Luckily, she lived in New York City and she could go to the middle of Manhattan to the central post office. But, it's just like, so give me a little more time, a couple days, maybe not 10 o'clock the day it's due. I'll do the best that I can when I can. But that being said, I want to thank everybody for being here this fall for the workshops. It's really been great. As I say all the time, I really wish that we could be in person. There's nothing better than being in the same room with a group of really wonderful people working towards goals, being positive, trying to make really a positive impact on society. And a lot of you over the course of the time that we've gone through this pandemic have made contributions, whether it's volunteering or coming to these workshops and contributing, serving on committees across the campus. Know that you're valued. Know that you're very special. Know that there's really not much in CUNY that compares to you. And know that you should hold it as a sense of pride, that the ringing truth of the Hostos Student Leadership Academy is that it carries to places, and that people know about us, know the work that we do, and respect us for who we are, right? Whether it's in Colorado at the Air Force Academy, whether it's in Washington, D.C., whether it's at the senior institutions of our own CUNY system, or whether it's at Columbia or Cornell or Harvard, not Yale yet, or any of the other colleges where some of our Stanford and some of our alumni have gone and shared the wealth of knowledge and experience that they started receiving when they were students at Hostos Community College, in the same seats, in the same boxes, however you want to describe it, in the same room that you're in right now. Know that I have aspirations for you that go beyond your aspirations for yourself, and that I will continue to push you to be the best that you can be. It's the reason why some people come back and do speaking engagements for us, and it's the reason why some people have gone on to become extraordinary individuals in the world. Because sometimes you need a little extra push to get over that hump. I'm not saying I have any magical powers. I don't have any kind of special ability. But if you tell me you want to go and do something, I'm not going to let you just leave it on the doorstep. I'm going to tell you got to go there. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep striving. And you can ask our good friend Yanira Arias, who was accepted at Columbia University, and like obstacles come up, right? Money's an obstacle, a lot of things, right? But I'm continuing to put her in contact with different people to see if we can get that done, right? I want to seal the deal. I want to help you to get to the places that you want to go and beyond those places, because I know the special, unique human beings that you are, and I value you for your contributions that you've made here. By signing that dotted line, I mean, we used to have a real contract. You guys just do it electronically. By signing that little line, you've made a commitment to me. You've made a commitment to the Hostos Student Leadership Academy. You made a commitment to Hostos Community College, and you made a commitment to the City University of New York. Now, all of those people, you may never ever get in contact with the people who run all those shows, but you will get in contact with me. And I take it as my personal obligation and my personal privilege to be at your disposal and to be supportive of you as you go along your journeys and try to and ultimately achieve and succeed in whatever it is that you put in front of yourself as your goal. So I'm glad that the last workshop of the fall semester is a goal setting workshop, because we all should have a set of goals that we're working towards in our lives. And I value your goals and I appreciate your contributions, and I know in my heart of hearts that you will be the extraordinary leaders in whatever community you step into as you go along your journeys. And those leadership roles will grow, and we will together, all of us, make a better world, because we definitely need some work. We're still working on making this place a better place. So know that that's what I talk about when I talk about you. Know that that's what I think about when I'm not sleeping at night, or when I'm worried about not having the right speakers for the winter workshops and trying to make sure we have the most excellent people there. Know that it's me believing that I have to put the best foot forward for you so that you can put the best foot forward in the world and make a huge difference and make the world a better place, right? I'm just a guy sitting in a room at Hostos Community College, but I know that the seeds that we plant at Hostos Community College grow into massive trees that reach worldwide. Right? Just look at this room and all the names and all the people who come from all the extraordinary places. Your reach is far beyond anything that you can even imagine. And I remember, this is the last story before we end this workshop today, and I'll try to end on time. I remember the guy sitting in my office one day looking at the computer, 3 guys, and it was trouble in Burkina Faso or Togo. I can't remember, to be honest with you. But I came into the room and they were like, we have to take the Leadership Academy over there so that we can fix some things. And I said, go and do it and make it happen. You have it. It's inside of you. You can take this to wherever you want to take it, to the halls of justice, to wherever it is, to the lands that you come from, or the lands that you want to make your own. Anywhere you want to go, you can take the skills that you've learned over the course of the time that you've been here and make a difference. And I hope that you do, because I'm relying on you to do that as I get older and more frail and leave more responsibility to the younger folks to sort of make a better world for my younger folks, for my little kids. Because I know that if you do your work, that they'll live in a better world. So keep working towards it. Know that you're loved, you're appreciated. Know that these meetings, if they don't mean anything in any strong way to you, they mean everything to me. That I only do this job because I know that I have to get to see you on Friday and spend a little time with you, and wonderful people like Dan who can come and speak to you and share their unique knowledge with you. And so I love you. I really wish you a great success over the finals period. I wish you warm and happy holidays if you celebrate holidays during this period. If you're not celebrating holidays, if you're just getting a break, a breather, a little time away from school, enjoy that. Enjoy the beautiful lights. Enjoy the cool weather and a warm drink. I'm talking about hot cocoa or a warm coffee. Enjoy friendship, enjoy a movie, enjoy a book, enjoy some time with your family, and know that I'm here for you through it all. And I look forward to the next time that we meet and the next workshop that we do. And so thank you so much for being here, and thank you for everything. And know that I'm always here for you. And a round of applause to all of you.
I'm sorry. Oh my God, Jason, you're gonna make me cry. That was so beautiful. We're gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you guys too. Thank you so much, Jason.
Well, thank you guys all. I make myself cry as they tease me every year that I am the biggest, I'm the biggest crybaby when it comes to these things. But if you have any issues, if you have any questions about the certificates, I'm still working. I'll still be there, on Monday. Feel free to reach out. Unfortunately, the pandemic has really made things difficult for the holidays this year. Even though there were a couple things that we were going to try to schedule, our annual things for the holidays, it's just not going to happen because the new mask mandate, everything has changed everything, especially with indoor stuff. And so I really hope that in the spring we'll be able to resume those type of activities. And I want to thank those of you who helped out today with wrapping gifts at the college. Those of you who have come out to the volunteer projects over the last couple of weeks. Know that we're going to get back to it. It's part of who we are. It's just a matter of time. So we'll get there. But that being said, have a great weekend. It's good to see you. Let me say goodbye to everybody. Dan,
Have a great weekend.
Isaac, Andre Jr.,
Thank you.
Asamana, Narcissa, Naomi.
Have a good weekend. Happy holidays.
See you
Bye.
tomorrow.
Bye, everyone. Roxy, Tierno, Fatima, Denise,
Yeah, sure, we see each
Fatimata,
other every week, so don't
Fatima,
worry.
Sally, Roxy, Seringe, Abdul. Everybody, take care. Rena, Danielle.
Everyone
What
have a
did I
good
miss? Somebody down here at the bottom, and it's covered by the thing. Cynthia, take care. Annie Junior, good to see you. Denise, Andre, I think I said you guys are ready. Zainora, take care. I will
Thank
see
you, everyone, and bye.
Have a good one, everybody.